We're going to do our first ever YouTube live on Sunday. They basically organised an ambulance, called for an ambulance to come. I didn't put a label in that one. Was that elderflower on my beard? Possibly. Yeah, it's just going to be a great year. I can't wait to start harvesting. Hi guys, how you all doing? We've got sort of lots of announcements and news today. Quite a lot to get you guys caught up on. And the first thing I want to say is that we're going to do our first ever YouTube live on Sunday. And we're going to go for midday, noon, UK time. So that will be fairly early in the morning in the US, and it'll be in the evening in Australia. So please do your own checks on time zones and how that affects you, but we'll be doing it at noon here in the UK on Sunday, and it would mean the world to me if a couple of you could make it. So we'll do a sort of garden tour, and I'm hoping that the 4G is going to be up to the job. And you know, it's going to be a bit of a trial. We'll see how we get on. Literally, we'll just see how well the 4G signal copes here, and then that'll determine whether the next one is inside or outside, because our Wi-Fi is ridiculously slow. Sometimes it can take me 24 hours to upload a video. So I just went in to grab the tripod because I'm going to go out and do some gardening while we have a chat. I feel like I just feel really positive about the garden at the moment. I feel like we're really doing okay, you know, even though we had all that cold weather. I've had a look back, and nature is behind where we were last year, but I'm ahead. So if you remember last year, we had one late frost, really hard late frost, and because it was just the one, it kind of took me by surprise, and I lost so many plants, a ridiculous number of plants. Whereas this year we've been, you know, aware of all the frosts, even though we've had more of them and we've had lots of late frosts. We've been kind of managing our garden for them, and I've also been going overboard with just succession planting, and I was like planting for failure. So I was planting stuff really early, fully expecting it to fail, and then planting another load of seeds a couple of weeks later to go in place of those first ones if and when they failed, and then another one 2 weeks after that, and it's really paid off. So yeah, I'm well ahead of where I was last year, and that's brilliant. I'm so happy. I've just been trimming some of my tomato plants, but you can see them in here, and well, this one's over 2 foot tall. Lots and lots of flowers, so I'm hoping that we'll get our first tomatoes around the end of June. I don't know, that might be a bit optimistic, but certainly a lot earlier than last year. It was almost September last year, I think, before I got any tomatoes. So yeah, we're ahead there. Our cucumbers are in the ground now, and they're starting to kick on. These guys have just in the last few days have really started to put on some growth, so I'm really happy with that. We've got our chili peppers in the ground as well in this polytunnel. Got all this excess that I've just taken off the tomatoes in the last hour, so I'll quickly pop that up on the compost pile. Yeah, so we've got lots of news. On Wednesday of this week, my wife, because it's half term at the moment, so my wife and children are all off, and my wife had arranged to go out for the day with one of her friends. Now that you know, the COVID restrictions are relaxed such that we can, so she had a day out, and I'd planned to work from home that day. I had a lot of paperwork to do, so I was working at home, and about 11 o'clock, Torren, who you will probably recognise, my youngest son, he started developing this really bad headache, and it got worse and worse, and then he started developing these other symptoms of slurred speech and some issues with the left side of his face. And anyway, one thing led to another. We called the NHS 111 line. They basically organised an ambulance, called for an ambulance to come. So an ambulance came. Really long story cut short, he's absolutely fine. We believed all the way along that the most likely thing it was is just a migraine, but our GP, who we spoke to throughout the day, she was just concerned because it was the second episode like this, and it was the slurred speech and you know, some other symptoms. She said there's a tiny chance it could be something more serious, so get him to A&E. So long story short, we were in the hospital till about 8 o'clock Wednesday night. So yeah, it's been a manic week, and just in the last hour our dogs have had a massive fight. I had to separate them. It's only superficial. One of them's cut their tongue and the other one's got a few cuts on their face. So it's been a really hectic week. Lots happening, all on top of the usual. So I've managed to get out everything, pretty much. All of my seedlings are out now, and we've succession sown a load of others for later on to take the place of other stuff. We've got a few more. Goodness me, I didn't put a label in that one. I know what that was though, so I can do that right now. That's a few more spring onions. Yeah, so while I'm writing that label, we've got in here, we've got cauliflower, cos lettuce, and in the middle there, spring onions. And these are all succession sowings to go in when we've got room in the garden, because at the moment it's looking really busy out there. But about half of my bed is given over to potatoes at the moment. Now, the first and second earlies, they're going to be coming out in probably 3 or 4 weeks, at which point we start seeing much more space in the beds. So it's really important that I've got lots and lots ready to go in there. I don't want to lose that time. So we've already spoken about that. We've got some swede here. We've got some more purple teepee and sinesta beans. We've got some chard. Remember me saying at that far end where my first earlies are, I want to sow a row of chard to act as a weed barrier as well. So that's what I've done there. We've got some Lolla Rossa lettuce and some pak choy. So some nice fast growing stuff that's going to go in there, and hopefully we're going to get 3 crops. We'll get our potatoes, then we'll get something quite quick in between, not everywhere but in a lot of them, and then we'll get our winter vegetables in. So I do need to do a lot more sowing, but maybe in a week or so, or just whatever time I get in the next week, because we've got quite a bit in there but not enough. But you'll see I've also got some seedlings outside that I've put out to harden off, and they'll be going out in the ground any minute now. Jerusalem artichokes are all coming up lovely. We've got finally got some parsnips that have germinated. I don't know how they're going to do growing in a container like that, because they usually want a really deep space, but we'll see. I can't grow them in the ground here because we have a nematode worm that basically causes club root, and it just doesn't lend itself, the ground here, to growing particularly good parsnips. We've got carrots out here doing okay. They were a bit stunted, but they're starting to come on now. We've got chickpeas, peas, loads more potatoes, and these guys are going to be ready. I'm probably going to harvest these like really early, in like 2 weeks, because there's going to be enough there to just get me through the next 2 weeks until we start harvesting the main bulk of them up from that bed. I've shown you my tomatoes and my cucumbers already, so I can close this up as well. Now, a new issue I'm having this year that I didn't have last year is pigeons. Literally, I didn't have any problems with pigeons last year, but they have absolutely destroyed my cabbages. Now, my plan was to leave the cabbages uncovered, allow the moths and butterflies to, you know, do their thing, and then I was going to just manage the pest pressure, because this is what I did last year, and we lost a hell of a lot of greenery early in the season, but every single one of those cabbages, almost every single one, just came back. So for me, it was worth it. That ability to weed and everything else, that having to mess about with the nets, I was going to, you know, and I still am, I'm running the experiment of just going all season without any protection and seeing how they get on. And, you know, I still believe that they will come back and be okay, because you can see down here the hammering that they've been taking, and this is all pigeon damage. None of this is from anything else. But even with that, this one is starting to come back. So I'm gonna run the experiment. I'm gonna let it run and see how we get on. And you know, it is what it is. We'll get what we get. Interestingly though, one thing that I definitely wanted to share with you is over here, what we have is our red cabbage, and it's completely untouched. So I don't know if I've just got lucky with that, or if pigeons won't touch the red cabbage, but there you go, something for you maybe to try for yourselves. So a lot of this bed, the stuff, even if it looks bare, all through here, you can't really see it, but this is a massive block of spring onions, and at the back there is a nice big block of leeks. So there's more in there than perhaps you can see. So basically this whole end is rammed full, and Everything from that path that way is pretty much rammed. I've got that chard to come out. I'm ready to take that out whenever I'm ready, which is going to free up another little bit. And then I've basically got a few little spaces just in here. I want to get the hoe in and get rid of those grass, that grass there. I have no idea why this grass has all just grown here and nowhere else. But you might remember back along as well, because we can't grow enough basil. Basil's something we use a tremendous amount of. So you can see down here we've got some in pots, but also I've sown it in between every stepping stone on these paths. So hopefully we'll have a nice lot of basil this year, and we'll actually have enough. It would be amazing if we could have enough basil. If all these grow into really big clumps, that could be enough to get us right through till next year, but we'll see. Onions are doing great. I've got some beans doing great. We've lost a lot of our lettuce again to birds. It's not to slugs or snails. So we've lost a lot of our lettuce to birds, but these ones here seem to be doing great. And again, I don't know why it is, but this one, you know, just hasn't been touched hardly. This is a Lakeland iceberg lettuce, and it's just like, yeah, I'm all right. Don't worry about me. You can see back there, I've got a block of sweet corn and another one over there. I just decided to put it in there in the end. Two things: I couldn't really find the perfect place in the grass. I wanted to try it in the grass maybe next year, so I couldn't really find the perfect place. And secondly, I thought I could actually use it. It might be beneficial to give me a bit of shade for growing some salad later in the year when it's really hot in the summer. So when we're planting out some lettuce and things in August, September, the shade that the sweet corn casts can actually be quite useful. We've got stuff now sown along every single one of those poles. The last few empty ones, I have actually sown some beans in the ground here, but I've also got some seedlings to just put in. So I'm going to do that before I go in the house. What else, guys? So I've already milked the goats, already fed the pigs. I'm going to do a little bit of sowing. You can see I've got some seedlings dotted up through here. I've also got some herbs there which are going to make their way down to the herb spiral. Just a reminder, on Sunday at noon UK time, do check out the time where you are, because it would be amazing if a couple of you could meet me for a YouTube live. And if that works, you know, then we will, you know, make a habit of it. I'd love to do that. The only other thing is, let me know, you know, if that time doesn't work for you, let me know what times do. I'm not going to change it for this Sunday, but, you know, we can have an iterative process of working out the best time. Yeah, so if that time doesn't work for you, let me know what times do. I would appreciate it if you could translate it into UK time for me. But yeah, let me know what time works for you if that doesn't. But it'd be great if we could see you. So we were talking earlier about how we're actually a little bit further on than last year. Last year, that late frost knocked back my grapevine. Actually, the grapevine all came out and then it all got really walloped by that frost. But the grapevine is actually further on than last year. It's greener. So, you know, there are a few things out here that I'm not in control of that are also doing a little bit better than last year. It's just going to be a great year. I can't wait to start harvesting. My wife's had the first strawberry. So we're not going to be, I don't think we're going to be buying any more strawberries this year. We've got thousands and thousands. I could probably find a ripe one if I look long enough, because like I say, my wife's had one. But it'll be great when we start harvesting the strawberries and then the raspberries, and I can start making the compots that we're using to flavour our yogurts and ice creams as well. Oh, that's another thing. So yeah, I've nailed it. My ice cream recipe, I've absolutely nailed it. I have got a great, simple and great ice cream recipe that I'm going to be sharing with you guys as soon as I get time to film it. So it is super simple, simpler than the one that I showed you with my wife just last week, and because you don't need to temper the eggs. Super simple, and the results, oh my god, it's amazing. I gave some mint choc chip ice cream I made to the paramedics that were here to treat my son, and they were very impressed. So yeah, I've got that video coming up, and also the compots I've nailed as well. So I'm going to be able to make legitimately for September, when, again, those of you who don't know, who don't follow my channel, in September, the only thing that I'm going to be eating is going to be things that are 100% made, procured, grown, trapped, sourced, foraged myself. we're not going to have anything that we've bought from the shop, and that includes even things like salt, pepper, spices, the lot. You know, everything is going to be stuff that I can either grow or barter or whatever here. So I can legitimately now make strawberry ice cream with not a single ingredient going in it that I have to pay for. And the same applies with raspberry ice cream, and same with yogurt. So yeah, I've got that compote recipe coming up as well. It's just fantastic. Yeah, so stay tuned for those. Another thing I mentioned a little while ago, but look at these elderflowers. Oh, and they've got the smell now. So again, very, very soon we'll be making some elderflower cordial. Is that elderflower on my beard? Possibly. Yeah, so I think that is you guys all caught up. I just, we've got so much space here, look, that's potatoes. So I'm going to need to make sure that I get round to filling that as soon as we can. It's difficult this time of year because with the warmth now, things are just germinating and growing so quickly that everything that I succession sowed is sort of ready to go out. So now is the time that I need to get sowing, which is what I did yesterday. I did all that sowing that I showed you, and I need to do, you know, a lot more sowing so that when those spuds come out, I'm not just looking at empty ground, I'm looking at new seedlings ready to go straight in. Yeah, productive garden. Productive garden is what it looks like we're getting now finally. And oh, what a lovely, lovely time of year. There you go. That's going to wrap us up, guys. Please do come and meet me on Sunday. Make sure you like this video. Leave me a comment down below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Oh goodness me! I had one other sort of mini announcement, and that is my new microphone is due to arrive in the next day or two. So the audio quality should pick up again then. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and make sure you do all those good things. Press that like button, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, and I'll speak to you guys really soon. Cheers.